and then that way I can use the questions. All right. Is it working on your side?
Yes,
There we go.
it
Yes.
is!
Excellent.
All right.
All right, excellent. Now that we got that kicked off. So, excellent. Now we're live. All right. We're live today, April 2nd. We're talking to Audrey Lee. She is behind Mission Media Co. and Pods Planes. And we have a pretty jam-packed show tonight. We have a bunch of questions that we asked in the channel. And if you don't know, which I forgot to mention, that this is Spotters Podcast Episode 5. So welcome, Audrey. We've
Thank
had a little
you.
bit of technical issues, and we are working through that. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. So let's just kick off. So tell me a little bit about you and, how did you get started in this aviation photography?
Yeah, so I moved to Hill Air Force Base for my job with the Air Force about 3 years ago now, back in February 2021. And I had come from the private sector before that. I was pretty focused on just doing F-35 work. So for my next big career move, I wanted to pick an F-35 base. And the cards aligned, and I arrived here, having never been to Utah before. And I didn't realize how close I would be to the flight line. So I'm less than a mile from the runway, and my apartment is situated pretty much parallel to the runway flight path. So didn't really know how to capture how close I actually was, and I wanted to be able to share that with other people that were curious in what I was doing out here for the mission, and began asking some questions to some professionals and saying, I want to be able to capture the jets that are flying outside my window. How are you doing that? And Instagram was a great place to facilitate those conversations. So then I started, picking up my first camera, my first lens, and beginning this plane spotting, journey, walking out further down the runway, closer to the runway, and getting some different angles, learning about light and learning about camera gear and learning about the jets themselves and the missions that they support. And for me, I think that that directly coincides with how I'm motivated to do better at my day job with the Air Force, which is acquisitions and contracting. So that's a little bit about me. My background is not in photography up until recently. And I'm from Connecticut. I guess I forgot to mention that. So that is my story about how I got out here and how I started shooting.
Well, I think you pretty much nailed it for the people that don't have the opportunity to be on a run or on on the grass between the runway and catching planes. We all want to be able to do that. Some of us get to have the pleasure of doing it on a day job like yourself, even though it's your side job, but your day job is pretty awesome too. You're always involved with the mission. I don't think you're missing out too much. I'm in New Jersey today. It's rainy. It's 43 degrees. I'm sure it's the same temperature in Connecticut. It might not be the perfect weather.
I actually have no idea. I believe it is raining in the east, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably nice out there in Utah today.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I came out here for a technical conference, and I missed the Makos by like hours. They were out here on TDY. They're our F-16 squadron from Homestead. So they left early, and I think all jets left at the same day. And I'm just out here until the 12th. So hopefully I could catch the local New Jersey Devils that fly out of Atlantic City. And if not, I probably have a day that I'm going to go check out some local air museums on Saturday. So
Great.
that'll be fun, and I'll post that on my Instagram story. Right now, everyone's seeing all the food I'm eating because
I was gonna
TDY.
say, I'm like, wow, you are eating some fancy food.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
That's funny.
definitely enjoying eating something different, but at the same.
Yeah.
So that you shared a lot. I would like to know more. We had a few questions in the channel, like I had mentioned earlier, and so we'll cover the F-35 questions because you guys, I mean, you
Sure.
work with that, and I'm guessing that's your main jet that's at Hill.
It is our main jet that's at Hill. We have three. We actually have four fire squadrons, and three of which that are active and deploying all the time. So, what is the F-35 question?
Um, HTM Aviation mentioned or had asked, what car would you say simulates an F-35?
That's Hunter. So Hunter's one of our Wasatch Wingman spotters. So I would say that a Tesla. And I only say that because the 35 has this big old screen that is just this big giant computer, and that reminds me of a Tesla for no
That's
other
cool.
reason besides that.
Not the thrust or anything. The Tesla
No,
has its
I'm just gonna say the screen, the
yeah.
big giant computer that's in the middle of the cockpit. I would say reminds me of a Tesla. I've only been in a Tesla like once in Vegas in like an Uber, and I was like, wow, this is like a 35.
Oh, okay.
So
I would have
that's
thought
my
like
final answer.
the torque out of a Tesla, that jolt back when you're taking off afterburners, maybe, but we'll go
Maybe
with
I'll
the
have to
screen.
try driving a Tesla. Maybe that'll be one of my goals for this year. Test it out.
Yeah, test drive. Well, you just went to Red Flag, and you caught some F-35s out there. How was that?
That was cool. I mean, I hadn't seen the Dutch 35s before, and you get so used to seeing 35s here at Hill that I'm just like, oh, locals, and then I just shrug, But to be able to see, just different, flying formation patterns, like different markings. We also had some F-35Bs with the Marines. Those were American, obviously.
Yeah.
So just kind of getting some different perspective of they're doing different missions than what we're doing here, and kind of keeping that in mind and being able to capture it was really exciting. So I did not get to do any low levels or anything. I was just doing the normal Nellis Speedway action, but still exciting to see some foreign 35s in action.
Was there any other foreign assets?
Um, we did have some contractor planes, so that was pretty cool. But not too much this year. Last year I got to shoot the Israelis and the Brits, so it was a little bit of a different, I think, mission with this red flag in particular. So
Okay. We had talked a little bit about this F-35 crash. Do you want to talk about that?
yeah. So okay, I haven't gotten to share a whole lot about the 35 crash that happened 2 years ago now. Like, wow, October 2022. So I do a little bit of air-to-air work here and there, and that's been a great opportunity. My first time doing air-to-air, was a T-33 backseat, and they were showing me this team of people were showing me videos of plane crashes, and it was really like just jarring. They're like, "I'm like, why are you showing me this?" And they told me that if you're going to get in the back seat, you have to understand the risk. This sort of thing happens when it comes to getting in these jets. And it was just so weird to me because I've never doubted the integrity of my aircraft, never doubted my pilot. Right, I'm getting into a commercial, but I just don't think that way. But when it comes to doing things with the jets, you have to think about things a little bit differently. So that was a really eye-opening experience. After my second air-to-air opportunity, I had been doing some T-33s and L-39 stuff over the St. George Desert in southern Utah. I had come back from that experience. This was literally the day after I'd gone back. And I was just out for a walk. I hadn't cleared my SD cards. I hadn't emptied my batteries or charged my batteries at all. Like I was not even prepared to shoot. And I was just going for a walk up the street with my scanner. And it was a beautiful night. It was October foliage, sunny day. And the jets were coming back from a sortie, and there were 4 of them. So I heard -1, -2, -3, -4. They all called in. -1, -2, they got cleared to land. -3 got cleared to land, and -3 crashed. Wow. And it, like, on final, and it just was this big billowing smoke, and I was just sitting there like, oh my God, what did I just witness, right? Yeah. And -4, it was weird. The scanner, I mean, the tower was going nuts. I mean, it was just beeping, and many voices that I hadn't, usually it's just one guy up there that you normally hear, but there were just voices all over. There was like just machine sounds, and -4 got diverted to Salt Lake to land elsewhere. And then tower went dead. Like, it was just silent. And I was just kind of like left like, oh my God, what just happened? And I never saw a shoot, and that really freaked me out. And I was probably out there for another 15, 20 minutes, just standing there, like, watching this, I mean, the fire trucks were showing up, and I was just in a total standstill. Like, my parents had to come get me. They're like, okay, like, you can't drive right now. I was inconsolable. So, I mean, I thought I just watched someone die. And a couple hours later, they, found the pilot, and he was fine. He landed in someone's driveway, and but you couldn't tell me. You could, like there was no, there was nothing that you could have said at that point to make me feel any better. And there were lots of people, asking me what had happened on Instagram, and I just didn't want to talk about it. And that was really difficult for me. I think that I didn't want to shoot ever again after that. I didn't pick up the camera for another 3 weeks, and it ended up being a safe move, because after the crash, just a lot of security started getting really difficult at Hill, and really vigilant law enforcement out closer to the flight line. So it really wasn't possible anyways, but I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. I almost didn't go to the Nellis Air Show. I was like, I can't. But I think when I was at the Nellis Air Show, kind of re-immersing myself with the community, kind of feeling safe again. And I was kind of just like, it was like a moment where it just kind of clicked. I'm like, oh my God, if I'm going to be doing this, if I'm going to be taking pictures of planes, if I'm going to be getting in the backseat of these jets, I have to embrace risk. And I have to embrace that things like this happen often. And not only do I need to accept that I'm taking that risk, but I also am accepting that the pilots themselves are accepting that risk when they get into their aircraft. And if I'm going to participate and share this mission, then I should be participating and sharing and raising awareness about that risk as well. So it was very eye-opening for me, and kind of an interesting experience, but it was hard. And definitely made me think about my photography career a little bit differently. So
definitely,
that's my experience.
Definitely, you always have to be mindful of those risks when you're definitely flying. There's anything could happen. Mm-hmm. Did they ever talk about what was the cause of that?
Yeah. So months later, they had basically boiled it down to a glitch. It could have been, movement of air coming off of -2. On that side of the runway, we also have a lot of canyon winds, and for whatever reason, the system that basically helps the jet land and keeps it balanced glitched. And there was a big report about that. It was very vague, but for me, I was just like I just saw it go down like a normal landing, and then instead of landing and rolling back up towards me, it was just a big ball of smoke. So
wow.
I did, I said I didn't bring my camera because I hadn't even cleared my cards, but it was one of those things where cooperating with security and the investigation was something that I was, willing to do, but I wasn't really able to provide much details because I wasn't on that side of the runway. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's that probably would have shook me to the core also.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that is scary to be so close.
Is terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they found the pilot and he's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's probably not okay because he had a jet.
I'm sure he's experiencing his own set of things, but yes, I am glad that he's okay as well.
Yeah. Hopefully he's up and flying again.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I know that there's a whole medical review board after you eject because of the forces of the ejection, the compression on your spine and all that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intense. Even if you do walk away from a crash, you still have long-term health issues. So
yeah,
hopefully he's doing well. Oh, there goes my lighting. Oh my goodness, this is a low budget over here. Let's see. I was trying to go through the questions real quick. I was writing down the names. Oh, the person who wrote that question in was Kate 444087.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it.
She also asked, what is your definition of success and how are you working to achieve it?
I think my definition of success is feeling prepared. I think that preparedness has been such a huge thing about how to manifest opportunities, especially when it comes to opportunities to take pictures, opportunities for air to air. You first of all, you can't expect opportunities to come if you've done nothing to get yourself ready for them. Yes. And secondly, if someone hands you a flight suit and says, get in the back seat, are you going to feel comfortable? Are you going to feel like you know what you're doing? Are you going to feel like you deserve this? Like, are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready to hop in and do what you need to do? If the answer is no, then you know that you have homework to do. So for me, I think feeling successful is feeling ready for anything. And sometimes those opportunities do happen that way. That's certainly happened to me before. And you can't learn everything, without experiencing some things. Practice makes perfect. But, hopefully every time you do get those opportunities, you feel like you can come away with lessons learned instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I totally bombed that. Or I felt like I was scrambling, or I felt like I didn't have this in the bag, or I wasn't ready. The goal is to feel like I've manifested this, I've prepared for this, and I've got this. So that's success to me. And I think I'm continuing to do that. So
yeah, you're definitely doing a good job at that. For myself, my experience, I've always said yes, even if I wasn't ready for it. And then I just kind of wing it for a little bit and then catch on. In a same sense, this TDY I'm on right now, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And now that I've worked the issues or the scenarios that we had today, I was like, okay, this is similar to what I've done in my facility, and I could get used to doing this for the rest of the time I'm here. Mm-hmm. So that works out really well to be a fast learner. But also be prepared is a great thing. I've done a lot of training. I have 18 years of air traffic experience. So when I get into a workshop like I'm doing now that is still air traffic, at my facility right now, it's mostly R&D. So it's the similarities and it's all my experience that I've done over the years, and it's kind of prepared me for this duty that I'm doing for a little bit. So that's it's great that that I the what's the word I'm trying to find here, but preparedness for success and knowing that you can achieve it is the best mindset that you can have.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I to be able to know what you have to do to get to where you want to be. I mean, makes it a little bit easier, but sometimes, yeah, you just kind of get thrown into a new experience, and you're like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. I guess this is what I have to learn next, and that's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
I, it was something that I thought about when you were talking about work was there's no such thing as wasted knowledge and wasted experience. So like even if you're doing all this training and you kind of feel like, oh my goodness, I don't know if this is ever going to mean anything or if I'm ever even going to have the opportunity to learn this or use this. Uh, you never know. You never know. So saying yes to everything is most of the time a good opportunity to just learn. You never know when you're going to need that. So
Yeah. Yoast Aviation had wrote in any big projects coming up, any air to airs or homecoming.
So I have no homecomings right now planned, which makes me sad. I've been doing home trips every other year, and that seems to be a good cadence. But I would like to be more intentional about making sure I'm coming home, seeing family, seeing some other types of jets, seeing some friends from back east, especially Samantha. Um, so I would rather come home for a good thing like a fun air show or someone's wedding or something fun than something sad and feel like I'm missing out on somebody's life experiences. Like I feel bad whenever I have to miss a wedding. So I'm trying to set aside more money to do that. But as for big projects, I think my biggest project right now is starting my business. Last year, I kind of started getting into people photography, doing work with the squadrons, doing some branded content, growing social media, but in a different way with getting clients. So I do have some shoots coming up with that, and that is something that I've been really focusing on the beginning of this year, especially getting my books solid, getting my contracts reviewed by lawyers and my accountants making sure that I'm all good to go. So that's kind of been my big project for the beginning of this year, and hopefully that will create more opportunities to have more opportunities like air to air, more opportunities to work with brands like Breitling or whomever. But right now it's been totally mission focused. It's been every other weekend. It's been retirement ceremonies for the military or promotion ceremonies or change of commands. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm doing well.
Bright Lane Watches would be a pretty awesome
Yeah.
uh,
So
collaboration.
last October, I did a photo shoot with Jet Girl Stephanie, and that was for the purpose of getting content for the Breitling boutique at Caesar's Palace. And so, if you are in Vegas and you are in Caesar's Palace perusing the shops, stop into Breitling and you'll see my picture on the wall.
Oh, very
I'm pretty
cool.
proud of it.
Oh, so you're already there.
I'm already there. It was a great opportunity to be able to work with them, and doing work for brands was so eye opening because it kind of had to let go of your editing style. With a lot of these brands, they just want to see a good picture, and they're not here to shop around and look for people with the best editing styles
Editing.
or who does masking the best or who has it better coloring. Like, it's not about that. It's who has the best photo and what's the best, what does that look like. And then you kind of have to just let them go with their aesthetic, and that was a little bit of a challenge because I was like, oh, I would have done that differently, but that's not the point. So it's just work. So that was a unique experience.
Yeah, the give me 1 second here. Apparently, the live is not working on my side, so no one can see me live.
Are they? Is it on mine or is it on
Yeah.
yours?
So on mine, no one can see. On mine, no one can see me live because you're hosting it because we had the
Mm-hmm.
technical
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
Um, so I have to invite the people to your live to be able to have people see or come and join.
Can I invite you to mine?
I am already invited.
You're already okay.
Yeah. It's just my wife was looking for she was looking for the live and she's like, okay, it's not showing up. So now we're trying to
Is it not public?
No, I think it is public. Oh,
Okay, okay.
there she is. So yeah, now it's people are joining in.
Oh, good.
They were following me. I guess the Instagram wasn't
It wasn't notifying
was.
people that you were also here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's supposed to, but Instagram is
doing its thing. Okay. Well, sorry everybody. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah.
You guys had the conversation.
It's okay. We're rolling with it. Every show now is always some new technical issue that we have to figure out. So it's no worries.
That is the idea. I mean, hopefully we can get everything exported and revisit the fun later on.
Yes, definitely. I got another question about that that crash by V Yasan 007. What was the most critical case on flight that the pilot was brilliant and saved his or her life?
I don't understand the question.
I don't understand it either.
Okay. Well, yes, we will agree that the pilot, they felt that they did the right thing, and there's going to be, I'm sure there was studies and lots of research about that decision to eject. I mean, it always is a touchy thing when a pilot makes a decision to leave an aircraft, and thankfully the crash area was on base and there were no buildings and it was within an area that was contained and no risk of hurting anybody else. So yes, I would agree that there it could have been so much worse, but I'm sure that the subsequent research went well for that pilot.
Now, I'm not sure how it works out on a military base, but does the NTSB come out and investigate even though it was on a military base? Or does
I actually don't know. Like in my head, I think NTSB, but when it comes to military, I believe that there's an internal process, especially because it's government money.
Yeah, and it happened on base.
I'll talk about my job a little bit. I work in contracts. I work in acquisition. So when something like this happens, they have to stand up a cell essentially that makes sure that this investigation gets everything that it needs. Now, if thankfully this was on base, but if we had a crash, and this has happened in the past, long before I was over here, but in F-16, out towards Antelope Island, we had to stand up as acquisitions an entire cell, and we had to buy all the things that they needed, whether that was computers or caution tape or porta potties, whatever they needed to have to maintain that investigation, like barriers so people couldn't see. That's something we have to buy. So it is a huge process when something like this happens. It's all hands on deck. When it happened a couple years ago, the one that I saw, I mean, that whole corner of base was shut down for a while. So, and I remember we were all worried we weren't going to be able to get to work the next day because, I mean, the whole base just went into lockdown. So it's definitely an all hands on deck situation, and everybody has to show up and figure out what happened.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of moving parts to, to get it quarantined off, to get it investigated, to get everything. I have very minimal experience when it comes down to aircraft investigations and aircraft
Yeah.
accidents. So I have like the basic knowledge of what actually goes on. I can only imagine the amount of resources that are dedicated when it's a military aircraft on a
Mhm.
military base.
Right. Yeah.
They're
Even
even
just
more.
something as simple as making sure there's no FOD,
Yeah.
like making sure that the runway is cleared. Like that's a huge undertaking that we've got, a lot of people focused on. And yeah, it's just the this is what's cool about my job. There's so much that goes on to run a base, and regardless of what kind of mission that they support, this we have a couple big ones, right? We have the warfighter, we have the maintenance depots, we have missile maintenance, a couple other different things. So we've got a lot going on. To even just have a base that is open and running smoothly takes so much manpower and so much administrative strength. And I'm always just in awe. Like whenever something comes by my desk, I'm like, wow, this is such an obscure thing that makes a huge difference in people's everyday jobs and in the defense of the base and then of the nation. It's fascinating to me. It's how much work, how much goes into it.
You're definitely keeping the air base running and all those squadrons. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I mean, so we have the fighter squadrons, right? We have the 35s. But what I support specifically is the maintenance depots. So Hill has full depot maintenance for F-16s, A-10s, F-22s, F-35s, all variants, and C-130s. Wow. And that is a huge mission. That is a lot of planes coming in and out of here to make sure that they're running smoothly and having to get taken apart and fixed and then put back together again and then painted. And making sure that we can support as many just as we possibly can, and getting those just back to their home bases. That's a huge mission, and they need their own stuff, and that's separate from the fighter wings, right? From the squadrons. So that's a huge mission that we have at Hill, and it creates some opportunities for plane spotting as well. That I feel like whenever we see a Raptor, I feel so lucky. I'm like, not many people get to see Raptors, and we get 2 at a time, so it's pretty great.
That was so that leads me to one of my questions that were asked by Johnny Aviation. If it was up to you, and I know you can't talk about certain specifics, but if it was up to you, would you upgrade the F-22 or retire it?
So, okay, I'm gonna get philosophical here. I am getting my master's in military logistics. So I will say this from a scholarly point of view, not so much my job, but from a scholarly point of view. I had to read a book for school called Dragons and the Snakes, and during the 80s 90s, like we had this great power competition with Russia, right? And the Raptor was created for that. The Raptor was created to be the fighter that would be able to be stealthy and participate in this warfare that was with our big competitors. And then we had a shift, right? We had a huge cultural shift. We had a shift in defense priorities and funding, and we went with the war on terror, and that's super important. And that was what we were doing for a long time. And now we're in a place again where we are getting back to great power competition. And I don't think the relevance of the Raptor is necessarily gone, because I think that original mission, I think, is manifested in a new way for sure, but is in some fashion still relevant. I think something to pay attention to is the bases in Alaska and the work that they're doing to manage interceptions with Russian fighters, and how many of those they're doing a year. And I think that mission is very much imminent and very important. And I think that they should still have Raptors. You know what I mean? I think that what we're doing with the 35 and the way that we're deploying them, I think is very important. But I also think that the Raptor still has a space in this great power competition that is I think, kind of coming back a little bit. So that's the dragon. The great power competition is the dragon, and then the war on terror is the reference of the snake. So we're kind of, if you want to say, like, air to ground. So it's a really good book. I did not enjoy reading it until like about like 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, yes, this is something that's going to essentially return. And this is an older book too, so the fact that they predicted that was pretty crazy. But so those are my thoughts. I think that the Raptor, I think, is still relevant because the great power competition has returned.
Definitely.
That's my thesis.
Definitely. I just looked up that book. I'm probably going to get that. It's The Dragons and the Snakes by David Kilcullen.
Yeah.
How the Rest Learn to Fight with the West.
With the West. Yeah. It's interesting. There's an interesting discussion about, like, how has the big dragons been involved in the snake warfare? And that's a very political conversation, so we won't go there. But if you do read that book, like, that is something to think about. Is it's not like they've gone away, right? It's the dragons are still around. So yeah,
I didn't want to get into politics too much, but I know we have the 5th gen, which is the F-22 and the F-35. But to me, that F-22 is almost like a 6th gen because it's so advanced. No one knows it. We are the only ones that have it, and we're gonna take out whatever snake that comes our way. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, it's something that we have that nobody else does, and I think that that's a really special thing. It is still owned in a lot of ways by the contractors, but they do have that rule of that it is just a U.S. jet. That is a special thing. And we have the Raptor Depot here at Hill, and the work that we're doing to maintain these jets is really important, and especially when it comes to things like software. So that's a super important mission when we're looking at that whole group of jets, F-16s as well. The work that we're doing here at Hill with software updates is also important too. So I love the Raptor. I never really cared about it until I got here, which is crazy because I was an F-35 girl for Raytheon, and then I got out here and I was like, ooh, what is that? So the Raptor stole my heart. So
it's stealing hearts at every air show.
Every air show, I feel like, whoa, that's a different thing. I don't know if you've seen the difference between, like Cabo and Raz.
Yeah.
I think that they both demonstrate the Raptor's capabilities so differently. Like, it's a completely different show, even though they're the same maneuvers. I felt like the first time I watched 22 Demo was Cabo, and it was just so technical and just like it was almost like in slow motion. I'm just like, what is this? Just so crazy. And then when Raz did his thing at Heritage last year, I'm just like, that was a different show. Like, that was insane. Like, it was just hard pulling G's, lots of apes. And I was like, this was a completely different experience. So just the variety and the capabilities of that jet is just wonderful. So cool.
Yeah. Raz, when I see photos and footage of him flying, I'm like, man, this guy is pushing it. He's pushing it. It's like when it goes vertical, it's almost like over cranks it a little bit and almost do a flip on low level. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's a completely different show.
But watching Cabo do that same stuff, it was just
he's
like
more chill.
Very technical, just very like I'm paying attention to the individual like the rudders and what's going on with the afterburner. Like, I feel like it was like I could pick it apart, and with Raz, I'm just like, like, I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
I love them both. They're both great.
Mid-Atlantic RR and Airplanes says it's time for a next generation F-14 Tomcat.
I feel like that would be a wonderful. I mean, I guess if there's a team that wants to do it, it's all about the contractors, right? I mean, I like when we are able to take warbirds and turn them into pieces that can demonstrate the mission and share the mission, right? I love that we are able to fly T-33s and L-39s, and maybe soon, we're getting into F-16s that are contractors, and being able to continue to support the mission and continue to raise awareness about the mission with older aircraft, even if it's in a museum, I think is a wonderful thing. Now with the Tomcat, like I know that's that there are some Middle East folks that are still very much
using it,
and that's cool. I mean, I've never seen one, but maybe we'll see that kind of hit the air show circuit someday.
Well, the HTM Aviation says that F5s are being used, and it's true. F5s are being used by contractors to support the mission for training as aggressor squadrons.
Yes, and that's awesome. We've seen F5s here at Hill, F5s, F1s, and like I said, being able to use older jets, I think for the mission, I think is great. As long as they're not posing a threat, you know what I mean, or a danger to our other jets,
Yeah,
let's do it.
When it comes down to the contractors, I don't know what the cost is per aircraft, but I know an F-15 was probably like $15,000 an hour to operate it. So an F-5 is pretty inexpensive compared to that. And a lot of the foreign air forces, like the Swiss Air Force, are getting rid of F-5, so they're buying them out. Now, I don't know what an F-14 costs to operate, but it's probably a lot more than an F-15 to fly. So
a lot of it has to do with availability of parts,
Yeah.
Like, so for like the T-33s and stuff, like it's difficult to find those things. The folks that run the T-33 hangar out of Wendover, they're always looking for new things and holding on to things that they might not necessarily need for their jet right now, but they're going to hold on to it in case they ever need another one, or if they need to sell another one to someone that they know. Getting stuff either produced, right, because no one makes it anymore, or holding on to original equipment is really valuable, and that's where a lot of the cost, I think, comes from when it comes to having a warbird. I definitely don't have enough money to buy a T-33, but if I did, manifesting mega millions, that is what I'll buy.
I actually saw on TV last night that like the New Jersey Powerball was at $1 billion.
Like 1.13, I think, is what he won in New Jersey. I was out because I went to Vegas, and you have to drive through Arizona, this little piece of Arizona, to get into Nevada. And yes, I definitely stopped in Arizona and grabbed a view. I'm like, well, that would make this trip absolutely crazy, but it's okay. I'm very happy for the New Jersey man. So I won $2.
Awesome. You're still winning.
What's that?
You're still winning.
I'm still winning. A win is a win. A win is a win.
Before we run out of time, I want to ask some other questions about yourself. You are running Mission Media Co. From what I saw on your Instagram, it's service members and like portraits. What are you doing that sets you apart from other portrait photographers?
I think a couple different things is understanding what the mission is, what it does. When I do things like Finny flights, a lot of times the families want pictures of the jet coming in, and if you don't have the equipment or the experience for that, and knowing how to get those shots, that does set me apart, just being able to have the plain knowledge, right? But when it comes to just portraits, understanding their career, understanding rank, understanding their role in the mission, what jets they're supporting, why that's important, why a 20-year, 25-year career where they started with F-16s and switched to 35s and essentially developed the F-35 program, that's not necessarily going to mean anything to another portrait photographer. But me being able to say, I understand what that means, and let's make sure that we're capturing that importance and those accomplishments in your ceremony. Let's make sure we're doing something a little bit more mission focused with your Finney flight. Let's make sure we're acknowledging your accomplishments with your retirement or your promotion or your change of command ceremony, and being able to capture the squadron camaraderie and the importance of the military families. I think that just having a foot in the door already kind of gives more perspective and maybe helps other folks feel more comfortable. Another thing is I have base access. So I don't have line access, but I do have base access, and that just being able to meet them where they're at and not have that extra hoop to jump through, I think is also really a great thing. With Mission Media Co., it's not just families, and it's also squadrons. And being able to work with the squadrons has been awesome. We did a 419th shoot with the reservists and with the jets, and being able to get the families out in front of the jet, get the kids kind of interacting with the aircraft and capturing that. And I'm like, okay, I want you to grab your son and I want you to show him what, because there was a group of crew chiefs. I want you to grab your son and show him what you worked on, yesterday. And, them going underneath the wheel and pointing things, and the kids just being totally just in awe of their dad. And that was just, being able to capture those moments, I think is super awesome. And then also group photos for the squadrons, like those are always fun. So in the future, I'd like to do more air show work. I think that there's a space for that as well. But for now, I think I'm just going to stick with, supporting the mission and the people who support it. So that's the best I can do.
That's amazing that you're doing that for them. And I'm sure they 100% appreciate it, that you're there to capture that special moment to share with their family. So that's great.
Yeah, and it's just it's so awesome to be able to kind of engage with the jets in a new way, through the people that are making them fly, right? So, yeah.
And I saw that you have your own channel. It's called The Patch Club.
Patch Club. I need to do something else with this channel, but yes, Patch Club. So I love patches. I have about 300 patches in my office. And that has been something that I started when I moved here, and I just have been collecting them ever since. Whenever I go to air shows or shoots with squadrons, or when I went to Alaska for Red Flag, I got a bunch of patches there, Nellis. So whenever I go anywhere, I try to come back like suitcase, like I want my suitcase to be stuffed with patches. And that has kind of been an opportunity for other people to kind of collect those souvenirs and follow my adventures along with me. So we do have a handful of folks that are in Patch Club that basically I send a print of where I've been each month, what I've been doing, any exercises, any photo shoots, a patch from it, and then a little handwritten note about basically like a postcard, like what I did this month. And it's just a fun way to kind of take folks along with me. And then like when I go and I get those patches, I'm like, okay, and grab 5 more, 5, 6 more, however many people I have subscribed. And that's what Patch Club is. So I'd like to be using the channel for something else, maybe something a little bit more interpersonal, but right now it's just Patch Club announcements.
How does someone join Patch Club?
So it's on my Buy Me a Coffee page, so I can put that in the channel after the show if that's something that folks are interested in joining. This month we had a patch from Wordy Photography, which was great, giant PVC patch. We've had Jet Girl Stephanie's L39 patch. We have aggressor patches coming up. the Salt Lake Guard patches. Like we've gotten so many great things just from my adventures. So
Is it a
if
one
someone's
time?
interested in joining, they should.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on the comments here on Instagram saying, "Oh yeah, I think she has the best patch wall ever." I'm going to have to check out the Patch Club. So people are interested. I was interested. I like to collect the patches of the aircraft that the squadrons that I've photographed.
Yeah.
So I just started with that maybe in 2020, 2021. And I'm like, okay, let me go back and let me go through all my photos and see about all these patches. So that's how
awesome.
I like to collect that.
Yeah.
Your buy me a coffee, is that a one time
it's monthly
coffee? It's a monthly coffee.
So it's every month, and then whoever's subscribed for the month is how many patches I'm going to make sure I grab. So awesome. And then you get a print. It's usually like a 4x6. So
fun print.
Yeah, plain picture and then a note. So it's pretty good. I definitely don't make any money off of it. It's one of those things that's just like, do you want one while I'm there? Great. So awesome. It's cool. And it's great if you want to like kind of start doing the patch collections. And we have there's an international shipping price. So if you're overseas, you can sign up that way. Or if you're CODIS, you can do the other one.
Get it that way.
Yeah.
All right, speed round, because the Instagram is only allowed for an hour.
Oh, right. Okay, I didn't know that.
We didn't cover that. So,
start it again.
Tomcatter says stealth bomber 117, the F-117 or the B-2?
B-2.
Okay. Favorite bomber of all time?
B-2.
Okay. I like the bone.
It has a beak.
The B-1 is I mean, yeah, the we were talking about that at the air show last week. If everyone went to McDill, I saw some of you guys there, but we were talking about the B-2 bomber being inspired by the Pedigree Falcon, like the beak, the swept like profile of it, and it's just amazing. Bird, yeah, B-1 RB. I preferred like the 4 F-15 engines on the B-1 bomber. So I like it to be loud,
The B-1 is noisy.
It is.
I've seen both. But I mean, I've done the B-2 shoot out at Wendover, and it was one of the greatest experiences ever. I mean, it wasn't that low, but it was cool to hang out with the B-2 team and kind of guide them into the airspace, and that was just really, it was fun. It was a good opportunity. So maybe I'm just biased because I've got experience, but yeah.
Okay, favorite fighter jet besides you can't pick the F-22.
Okay, then the 35.
No,
it has to be. That's how I started. They gave me the 35 program on my first day at Raytheon. I was like 18 years old, little college student podge, and they're like, "You're in charge of the 35 program." And I said, "I don't even know what that is." And I went home and I learned everything I possibly could about it. And I'm like, I am now the expert in the F-35. So it's very near and dear to my heart.
All right, I'll give it to you. Favorite gear to photograph?
Yeah, so I use the Sony A7 IV with the 200 to 600 lens. So I'm a Sony girl through and through. I will never be otherwise.
What are you using for your lens? A telephoto or a wide angle?
Like the 200 to 600?
If you had to pick one?
For jets?
You had to pick one lens for jets.
For jets, I would say the 200 to 600. Being this close, you'd be surprised at how much I have to zoom out. I don't think I could do a 600 prime here. It would be amazing to try, but like I said, mega millions. That's the only way. We're just manifest that.
All right. So where can besides Pogs Plains, where else can we find your photos at?
So Potters Plains is the best way to find, the most recent shots and reels that I've got. But if you're on LinkedIn, I'm probably on LinkedIn just as much as I am Instagram. So my name, Audrey Lee, on LinkedIn, and it's a picture of me with my big camera. And I connect with folks all over the defense industry, especially here in Utah. So if you're ever interested in learning more about Air Force employment, that is a great way to reach out to me there about that. And I do a lot of work with the recruiters as well for civilian jobs. So that's definitely a resource. I also post pictures there, but Instagram and LinkedIn are kind of my two platforms. And my website for my company is mission-media.co.
Very cool. All right, everyone. We have about 2 minutes remaining, and I'm going to use this time to tell everyone you got to go buy a coffee for Audrey Lee. It's on her bio. Be part of this patch club. I mean, apparently, and this is also the word of Yoast. She has the best patch wall ever.
She's great. I love her. Oh my gosh. I have her stickers all over my suitcase.
She is so awesome. I met her at the McDill Air Fest this past weekend, and her designs are really, I love having creative people on the show, and I'm going to reach out to her again, and we got a schedule to
Girl,
put
do
her
it.
on the show also.
Girl, do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Audrey, for joining and sharing your experiences, sharing your knowledge. I hope you have the best success, manifest the millions.
Yes, manifest the millions without the lottery ticket. We're going to do it with photography.
So. I mean, you'll make hopefully you make $1 million in photography. That'd be awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. It's been a blast to talk to you. Hopefully we could talk again. Maybe I'll do an end of the year recap with all my.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Guests. Awesome. Cool. Right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate